How do I know which type of deal to use bridging on? Well, that's a question I often get asked, and there's a really easy answer. So that's good to know, isn't it? There are really two key components of a deal to know if you need to use bridging. We'll look at them at a headline level, and then I'm going to drill down a bit to examine them in more detail. First thing is you need to be able to buy it under its true value. So you need to buy at a discount. Now that's a nice to have. It's not an absolutely essential, but it's a nice to have. If you can buy it below its true current value, then it's likely to be a better deal. And the second area, and this is really important, you need to have the ability and the opportunity to add value. So within a relatively short space of time, you need to be able to do something to the property that forcibly appreciates the value. There's a phrase, isn't there? And you've probably heard it, below market value. But what does that actually mean? Well, I think I know what it actually started out meaning, but it's become to mean different things. So its meaning has got muddied and clouded, probably by well-intentioned people that are quite new to property and applying it incorrectly. So they would say, you can buy a property 30% BMV. What they're meaning is you can buy it 30% below its done up value, but you've got to spend a big chunk of money to get it to its done up value. So clearly you're not doing that. It can be a bit misleading. So I'd like to use a different phrase that I use on my training courses, and that is true current value. Without doing anything to the property, what is it worth right now, and can you buy it below that value? A property could be worth 150,000 done up, but if you've got to spend 20 or 30,000 to make it worth 150, then you can't really call that below market value, or that's not an accurate way to judge below market value. Let's look at a different way. If you get a RICS valuer and says this property in its current state without anything doing to it is worth 100,000. Now, if you can buy that below 100,000, then you're getting a bit of a bargain. If you could buy it for 80,000, so now you've got it £20,000 below its true current value, and that is a more accurate indication of whether you're actually getting value or not. So if you can buy something below its true current value, below what it's currently worth without you doing anything to it, fantastic. It's a nice to have. It's not necessarily a must have, because if you can do the second one to a big enough degree, it doesn't matter if you play market value. And in buoyant markets, in buoyant regions or buoyant cities, when the market is really going, then it's really difficult to buy it below its true current value. So people then tend to focus on not what they can buy it for, but what they can add to it and once they've bought it. So that's a slightly different view. So let's come on to the second one now, about adding value. This is essential, because if you can't buy a property at one price, do something to it that adds significant value over a short period of time, and that's referred to as forced appreciation, your chances of making it fit on a bridging deal are very slim. So what sort of things can add value? Well, typically it'll be a refurb. So you buy a property in poor condition, it needs updating, it needs modernising, and you actually carry out that work. So boom, you buy it here and you add the value there by spending some money on it. Could also be converting, so you can convert a house into flats. Sometimes you can convert a house that's been converted into flats back to a house. Even that makes sense in some areas in the country. You can take a commercial property and convert it to resi. Sometimes you can even just get planning permission, and that adds value. So there's different ways to add value. For bridging to work, the ability to add value and forcibly appreciate value over a short period of time is an absolute essential. If you can buy it below its true current value and you can add value, then it's even more likely to make a bridging work on that type of deal. But if you can't do either of these, you really got to question, is it right for bridging? And almost invariably, it's going to be no, it isn't. Because if it just needs, quick coat of paint and redo the flooring, you're going to add nowhere near enough value to be able to refinance and pay off the bridging loan and make some money. So it's for the properties that have got, shall we say, problems. So problem properties work better with bridging. It's as important to know when not to use bridging as when to use it. If you use it in the wrong place, it's just going to cost you a packet of money. So, and we don't want that, do we? That's not the outcome we want. We want you to be making money. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week with another property finance tip. If you've liked this video and you haven't subscribed or liked and followed me yet, do that. And hey, have a look at a couple other videos that I've done. Here's a couple of suggestions coming up.